Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today, just wanted to, obviously, as it's the international break, just wanted to have a bit of a talking point, a bit of a discussion, right? Because after this international break, we are not going to have a break until March. As always, this is the period where, it's the last international break. We have had the September one, we've had the October one, this is the last one until March, right? And now we're gonna have what 3.5, 4 months of football, week in, week out. You're gonna have Champions League, and then that December January period, you're gonna have the cup games. We're gonna have the Super Cup, the Copa del Rey will come, La Liga will continue, Champions League will continue, and by that point, we probably wouldn't think too much of just sort of having a break and just talking about a player's season, right? Because look, an international break is a perfect time to sit down and assess the season, assess certain players, and assess the team, right? Do I think Real Madrid are in deep shit that we were last season that I need to sort of talk and give my opinions? Not really, you know. Obviously, Real Madrid in big games this season haven't impressed, especially big away games. But I still believe in it. It's only very early on under Xabi Alonso. I still believe that as time goes on, we should be able, or we should see that sort of change. We should see a better version of this Real Madrid team. But that is hard to judge and assess now, and I think that's something that we have to talk about in March, April, May, June, when the season's coming towards the close, and we know that whether Real Madrid have won anything. Last season we knew pretty early on that La Liga was over, the Champions League were knocked out early in, I say early, the quarterfinals, but still considerably early. Just yeah, you know, but I suppose one thing that I want to just sort of clear. I am a Real Madrid fan, and I am a Real Madrid fan that loves like every current and past player that's played for Real Madrid, right? Um, and I have no agenda. I have no bias to another player, or I don't hate Real Madrid players, right? I don't, right? Because I support this club, and I always will. And every player that puts on that Real Madrid shirt, whether you are terrible or not, yes, in certain games, if a player is having an absolute stinker, you get mad. It's normal fan behavior to get mad. But if you go across and you go past that line, you get abusive, you get violent. I think that's where you draw the line. I just don't agree and accept that sort of behavior as fans. But I think to be critical and critique a player, I think that's fair. And the last 18 months or so, since Real Madrid won the um, last Champions League, that final against Dortmund, one player has really, I'm not going to say fallen off, because I looked at Vini Jr.'s stats in the last 2 seasons, and it is not stats of a player that is struggling. It is not stats of someone who is barely getting 10 GAs. It's not someone who is barely getting 15 GAs. Like, he is getting, 30, 35 GAs. And I would assume this season he's probably going to be able to hit the target as well. But I think we need to, and this is something that obviously the newer generation that I'm part of as well, we always see things as goals and assists. We always see things as, if he scores, he's a good player. If he doesn't score, he's a bad player. And that's a very unfair way of judging a player's qualities and how well they're doing and how well they're playing. Apart from the goals and the assists, we need to look at the contributions elsewhere. The pressing, the defensive contributions that the player is bringing in, and even off the pitch, the player's character, the player, how he's like, the personality, you know, all the kind of things like that. And I'm not here to talk about Vini Jr.'s personality and him as a person, because I think that the media likes to paint and portray him as just a devil, and even a very evil person, you know, and we know that's not true. And you don't have to be a Real Madrid fan to know that's not true, right? We have seen it. El Clasico, bad temper. Do I agree with that behavior? No. But you cannot take one incident such as that compared to five good things he does. Because I would say this, right? The amount of good things that Vini Jr. does in a game, for example, he's given, bottle of waters to opponent and rivals before. He has done many good things on the pitch that people don't show. Go and look at clips. Go on Google, go on YouTube, search Vini Jr. moments that doesn't get shown. And the amount you'll see, is crazy. And the amount of bad and more negative side of him is shown 100 times more than the positive good side of him. So that's the way they portray him. Does he have, the bad side, the negative side, the side that shouldn't be there? Yes. But does every other player have that? Yes. So I completely, am not going to say, terrible personality, terrible character, whatever, because we know those that actually look and see what he does every game, apart from sometimes when he's obviously upset, he's disappointed, he's furious, whatever word you want to describe, it's feelings, it's emotions. He's not that kind of person, right? Now, I want to talk about the footballing side of Vini Jr. more than anything, because that person, that player that has been doing all the magical stuff, the breakthrough, early 2020s, coming through the ranks, and just having that flair, having that smile on the pitch when he's playing, having that sort of not that he doesn't care, but in a sense, it doesn't really, like, playing football to him when he was at his best felt easy. It looked easy as well for fans, for spectators. It looked like this guy could do anything on the ball, with the ball, and no one could get near him. I'm not saying that he's Neymar, because that is, I would say, kind of disrespectful to Neymar. But not often you see players like Neymar, and to be able to do that sort of stuff. There isn't many players. Like, Ronaldo isn't that kind of player. Messi isn't that kind of player. Like, we're talking about the skills, the flair, the Brazilian trait, right? Like, that's something that we see a lot with Brazilian players. So, for Vini Jr. to come through and be the newer generation of that in the early 2020s, and sort of come to the Real Madrid team, displays Gareth Bale, although it wasn't the same position, to be fair. Displays players like Marco Asensio, displays players like Eden Hazard, and become a starter under Zidane. And then Carlo Ancelotti comes in, becomes a key player in the Champions League winning side. Then following up the next two seasons, should have won the Ballon d'Or in 2024, gets robbed, and then we see that downfall, right? And I say quote downfall, by the way, because, like I said, the stats don't suggest it's a downfall. But I'm talking on the bird's eye view. I'm talking about what we see, right? I'm talking about what he brings in terms of aesthetically, not the stats, because the stats back it up. Yes, he's still having very good numbers, and I'm not suggesting he's stat pads, by the way. I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying, like, stats wise, we know he can deliver a hat trick in a game. In any moment, he can deliver a hat trick of goals or a hat trick of assists, and that is because he's a great player. But that consistency of showing that magic, showing that flair that we love him for as Real Madrid fans, I don't know where that's gone. Like, I've been watching him for the last year and a half, 18 months basically, and I just haven't seen that same version that was even in the 23-24 season or the 21-22 season. Like those versions of Vini Jr. like the best left wing in the world, easily the best left wing in the world, right? And yeah, like where has that player gone? Where has he gone? And we want him back. Genuinely speaking, Real Madrid fans want that Vini Jr. back because Vini Jr. not playing well doesn't make Real Madrid any better. It makes us worse. And Mbappe is doing everything that he can do at the best level he can do possible. Vini Jr. isn't doing that at the moment. Let's be honest. Like I said, stats probably suggest he is, but it's more than just stats. And he has to take some of the workload and burden from Mbappe. He has to share the responsibility because these are the two best players on their day in the world. And Jude as well, Bellingham, obviously Jude Bellingham as well. But we can cut him some slack because, he's not necessarily playing as the same position he was under Carlo Ancelotti in the first season he was here. And obviously Mbappe coming in has sort of hindered his, not progression, but obviously his stats as well. But I think to expect Bellingham to be scoring all the time is obviously more far-fetched than expecting Vini Jr. You're comparing a winger to, okay, maybe a 10, but he was never really a 10, he was more of an 8. So, look, what I'm going to say here is this. I love Vini Jr., I love him as a player, and I want him to succeed as much as any true Real Madrid fans do. Right? Fake Real Madrid fans that are hating on him, saying, get out of my club, those aren't Real Madrid fans. Okay, those aren't Real Madrid fans. They are fake ones. Now, is that me saying that don't hate on him, continue supporting him, even if he's having a good game, just glaze him? Am I saying that? No. We have to call it out as it is when it happens. Like, I've said it so many times in my reviews, right? When a player doesn't have a good game, yeah, like, we need to talk about that. But in general, after all the bad games, after all the lows, after all the downtime, when we look back and when we sort of get our emotions out of the way, we still say, yeah, you're still at the club, you're still a Real Madrid player, and as much as you didn't have a good game, or you haven't been having good games, I still want you to succeed, because that is the real and right way to keep supporting your club's players, to keep showing them support, to back the players. Because if you're gonna just hate on a player after one bad game and say, get out of my club, then why are you a fan of the club? Like, you may as well go support PSG right now, or Arsenal right now, because they're winning. They're winning every single game, right? Like, go to Arsenal, and if they start losing, go to support PSG. And if they start losing, go and support Bayern Munich. And if they start losing, go support Barcelona. And when they start losing, go and support Inter Milan, for example. Like, the whole point is, if you're a fan of the club, you have to stick through the good times and the bad times. And what I'm saying here is, Vini Jr. is having some bad times at the minute, and we have to stick by him as fans. Now, how long that will last isn't down to the fans' control, right? Because Vini Jr., for all you know, he can stay here forever. He can stay at the club forever, even if he's not playing well, or he can be sold next summer. Anything can happen in football, anything can change really, really fast. And right now, I'm not going to be jumping on that get out of my club. I'm not going to be saying that stuff. Because I think that's ignorant. I think that is just the most basic stuff that anyone can say. Like, it's so basic. Like, one bad game, a couple bad games, get out of my club. Acting like as if Vini Jr. isn't the best left winger in the world when he's at his best. Now, instead of getting rid of the, not problem, but getting rid of what is going wrong, how about finding ways to address, to solve it, to make it work again, to make that connection, that relationship work again, because there is a player there. Anyways, I don't want to keep rambling on, just want to give my opinion. If you guys have any, let me know in the comment section down below. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Hit the button, subscribe to turn us on already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.